Hello, this is meteorologist Brad Winter from Region Weather Live, your YouTube source for weather across the Dakotas and Minnesota. And we've got a few chances of snow to talk about over the next few days, as well as some cold temperatures, especially in the northern parts of our region. And then it should moderate as we get a little bit later into the week. So let's go ahead and take a look and get right into it. All right, so starting off for Monday morning, we're going to see that we've got some snow begin to move in to the western, northwestern parts of South Dakota as we start off our day. And again, we kind of got our split screen going on once again. So we got our accumulation on the right. And this first little batch on Monday really isn't going to bring a whole lot. So some of the forecasting graphics that I'll show you in a little bit, I've kind of got divided from Monday and then Monday night into Tuesday, just because there's a little band that goes through Monday, but actually doesn't really do much in the way of accumulation. So we start off our day at 6 a.m. Monday morning, and then by 9 a.m. you can see it begins to move just a little bit further east, kind of a little bit closer to Pierre and Mobridge, picking up just a tiny bit more snow in there. And then as we get to noon, creeps a little bit further into eastern parts of South Dakota. Again, not much in the way of accumulation, just, everything mostly, especially as it gets kind of from the Missouri River on eastward, really begins to diminish. Most of the snowfall kind of occurs more in northwestern parts of South Dakota on Monday. As we get around 3 p.m. on Monday, you can see it begins to leak into southern parts of Minnesota. Picks up, really not much in the way of accumulation, as actually some of the temperatures will be a little bit warmer down there. Some of the roads are still kind of warm down there from the weekend. So really not expecting a whole lot in the way of accumulations. And then as we get into Monday evening at 6 p.m., that snow begins to move on out. And we begin to see the next batch of snow begin to move into western parts of North Dakota. And of course, like I said before, not much in the way of accumulations by that point. So we're just going to take a quick look at our graphic for Monday. And in the green, we're looking at an inch or less. And really, a lot of these areas, especially up in here through North Dakota, really isn't going to pick up much. Most of the snow is going to be kind of down in through South Dakota, down in through here, obviously in the green areas. And then just a little bit heavier from, Spearfish, north of Rapid City to probably just west up here, where we could pick up an inch or two, maybe even an isolated 3 within this yellow area in through here. Then, like I said, other areas, generally an inch or less, probably a half inch or less, really not picking up much in the green areas expected through the day on Monday. So we're talking again from about 6 a.m. to about 6 p.m. on Monday. All right, then as we get into Monday evening, as I said, we begin to see that snow begin to move into western parts of North Dakota. Some accumulations begin to pick up out there by about 9 p.m. Monday. That snow begins to push eastward and move into the Missouri River area, Lake Oahe, Lake Sakakawea area, and up into Williston. Again, accumulation starting to pick up in through there, kind of along the Missouri River, US 83 and westward. And then once we get midnight, that begins to move more so into the James River Valley. Kind of the light stuff first starts off, but you can see there might be just a little bit band of some moderate, maybe even a small sliver of some heavier snow just on the back side of this as we get to midnight, just approaching that that Missouri River area, the Lake Sakakawea area, as this continues to push eastward. Now, one thing I want to kind of point out is this is kind of forming actually along a warm front. We got our low out here, and as this pushes eastward, we got just a little bit of warm air advection going on in through here. And that's really what's kind of creating some of the snow and even some of that more moderate snow as that front moves eastward throughout the day. So, or throughout the night and into Tuesday. So along that warm front, you might just get a little bit stronger band at that. And then also just south of that front, as we get through the evening hours, temperatures might hold steady or actually just sort of rise just a little bit as we go a little bit deeper into the night. And so that's going to help some temperatures moderate, especially down in the southern parts of North Dakota. All right, continuing on, as we get to 3 a.m. on Tuesday morning, we see that snow just begin to move into Minnesota. That accumulating snow mostly north of I-94 at this point, but here's about where we could see a little bit more of that heavier band at this point as we look at about that 3 a.m. time frame. And then as we get to 6 a.m., right around the time when people are heading to work, We see that snow now into northwestern parts of Minnesota, maybe that little bit of heavier band, again, kind of that James River Valley area up into Devil's Lake, up into New Rockford, areas like that. I could see maybe just a little bit stronger band with that at this point at 6 a.m. on Tuesday. And then by 9 a.m., begins to move a little bit closer to like, not quite to Ely, but does get to Bemidji by this point. And then by noontime, starts to finally make it into far eastern parts, the northeastern parts of Minnesota. And then as we wrap up the day at 3 p.m. on Tuesdays, begins to move out, a little bit more accumulating snow. And then really by 6 p.m., most of the snow, by this point, this band, this quick moving system has now moved through, and we start to get that cold air advection again back on the back side of this. So cold air begins to sink southward a little bit. And kind of along that cold front, we get just another little band of snow that's going to be picked up. And then throughout the nighttime hours, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, maybe another inch or so being picked up with that band. And so here's kind of the timing that we're looking at Monday night in through Tuesday. So everybody here in the green, we're looking at that snow moving in by 3 a.m. Now, not necessarily where the strongest band will be, but just that the snow will be beginning. Boy, if I could talk tonight, that'd be awesome. Yeah, in these areas in green, there will also be a little band of snow that picks up across the far south. That really won't pick up a whole lot in the way of accumulation, but just note that maybe a little bit of light snow down in the far southern parts of South Dakota as well. 3 to 6 a.m. In these areas in through yellow. And then somewhere in between 6 to 9, you could see between kind of reaches that Bemidji, not quite the Ely area. And then down here, down in southwestern parts of Minnesota. And then somewhere between 9 a.m. and noon for the remainder of northeastern parts of Minnesota, far southeastern parts of Minnesota as well. Okay, accumulation-wise, here's sort of what I'm thinking. We've got an inch or less generally in this area in green. So like I said, not really worried a whole lot with these areas down in the southern parts of our region, southern parts of South Dakota and Minnesota. It's more going to be this band that moves through Tuesday night or Monday night through Tuesday and pushes eastward along that warm front. Now, these areas in green, of course, you're looking at an inch or less, and then these areas in the yellow. So really anybody in through here, we're looking at the possibility of picking up somewhere between that 1 to 3 inch mark. Now, I did add this little bit of area in purple because of that band, that little area of moderate snow that I was concerned about. Now, not all the models are really picking this up, but I think there's a possibility at least of getting just a little area that might be just a little more intense. And I think this is about where the track's going to be. So I added just a little bit, a purple band, just to note that 2 to 4, maybe a 5-inch mark could be possible somewhere within here if that little more intense band does indeed pick up. Then, as I indicated before, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, there might be another little band that sets up along that cold front. And that could add another 1 to 2 inch through the overnight hours, Tuesday night and through Wednesday morning. And so one more time, we're going to go back to the split screen just to show where the accumulating snow is at this point and where some of the stronger gusts will be. So this is Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. and you can see that stronger winds begin to push in to some of these areas where we're picking up some accumulating snow. And so we move that along to around the noon time frame. We can see those stronger winds begin to move into central parts of Minnesota and roughly about US Highway 2 and northward is where most of the heavier accumulations will be. And so with that, with these little bit gustier winds beginning to slide eastward, you can expect some blowing and drifting snow along with the actual snowfall that's occurring. So some of these areas you might see some reduced visibilities and some slippery road conditions throughout the day on Tuesday. And again, as we go through the day on Tuesday, that wind begins to diminish actually as we go through the afternoon. And by 4 p.m., most of that has moved off. We got a little bit of gusty winds still into parts of North Dakota, but nothing too bad. So I think on the initial onset, especially into eastern parts of North Dakota in the early parts of Tuesday morning, we're probably going to be looking at some reduced visibilities because of both the winds and the snow falling at the time. And then beyond that, as we get into Thursday, there's a chance at least that there might be a little storm system coming out of the south and moving to the northeast that might just clip the far southern edge of our viewing area for Thursday. This is just one model showing this at this point, so I'm not real confident in this at this point, but just something we'll watch out for, obviously, as we go through the week. Really, probably the next, maybe better chance will be Saturday, late Saturday into a Saturday night. We get a little bit of a system that comes out, and we get a little bit of light snow in the northern parts of North Dakota in through Minnesota. There are actually a couple models sort of showing something similar there, so I actually feel a little more comfortable a little bit further out than I do with this little system ejecting out. But it's something we'll have to keep an eye on and see if this indeed does develop. That could mean just maybe some areas that could pick up a fair amount of snow down in the far south. But at this point, I think we'll just have to wait and see. All right, we're just going to take a look at the high temperatures now for Monday. We're looking at single digits up in the far north to near 30 down in the south. Some really cold temperatures to start off the week. Single digits again for Tuesday in the far north. 40s down in the far southern parts of South Dakota. As I said, that warm front will actually make a difference for some of you as we go through the day on Tuesday. Wednesday begins to cool back down for some of you because that cold front kind of sweeps through. We're back down to single digits to near zero in the northern parts of the Red River Valley. And then as we get to Thursday, things begin to moderate a little more as we look at 40s in the south, 20s to 30s in the north. And then that kind of is where things remain for Friday and even a little bit into Saturday. Maybe some cooler air begins to dip a little bit further into southern parts of Minnesota, but not too bad as we get a little bit later into the week. So nothing too serious, but we do have just this little band that comes through Monday night, especially in through Tuesday morning. That bears a little bit of watching. That might cause some hazardous road conditions through, especially through the morning and early parts of the afternoon hours on Tuesday. So we'll just have to keep an eye on that, I guess, and take it slow as that moves through. All right, everybody, as always, please hit the subscribe button. Boy, again, if I could talk tonight, that'd be awesome. But we're just going to roll with it. Hit the subscribe button down below if you haven't already. And for those of you who have, I sure do appreciate it. I'll give you a thumbs up. Please hit the thumbs up if you haven't done so already. I haven't done this for a little bit, but if you are new to the channel, let me know where you're watching from. That'd be great. That way I know who's watching exactly from where, and sometimes kind of helps me decide where to focus on a little bit more if I know more people are from a certain area, or kind of keeps it in mind to go, hey, maybe I should talk about Mary up in Cook City. I don't know, just picking out a name, just because that kind of helps me, keep an eye on things a little bit more. So I would appreciate that as well. If you're new to the channel, let me know where you're watching from. All right, everybody, from Region Weather Live, I am meteorologist Brad Warner. Everybody, have a good day.